Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to another episode of TSF Reviews. Today, we're going to be reviewing the Marvel movie, latest, whatever it is, it's Eternals. And we just watched it this weekend. It was, well, we have a decent bit to say about this movie. Joining me today are the lovely ladies, Sabeen and Kanza. Say hi to the camera, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Great. So, just before we dive into the discussion of the movie, I'm letting everybody know that this is a spoiler heavy review. We will be talking about key moments and key characters and key events. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet, watch the movie and then for sure come back and give us a watch.
Yeah.
With that said, are the uncool people who didn't watch the movie gone? Okay, great.
You mean like they leave before the post-credit scenes? Yeah, they're gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the movie. I thought it was great, honestly. I mean, I think as like me and Kanz are probably the only people who have actually read anything about the Eternals.
Yes.
So I think we both enjoyed the movie a decent amount, given that they did change a lot of things in this movie from the comic
That's
books,
it.
right? So, Samir, what is
I'm just yeah, since you two are the people who know the comic background, I'm the MCU exclusive perspective person. So overall I did like it quite a lot. Like I don't know why the critics were bashing it so much, but it was a good watch. And probably the part I liked the best was the cinematography, the views, the scenic landscapes, and everything. That was just brilliant. So, again, please, if you haven't seen this in the cinema, it is worth it. Go watch it. It will be enjoyable.
talking more about that, I do agree. Like Chloe did an amazing job when it came to the direction of this movie. Like,
Yeah.
me and Amar had a discussion about exactly this on the way back from watching the movie after we were stuffed with pizza, and so the thing that like it was just it was a gorgeous movie. The costumes are gorgeous. The colors are great.
All the
Um,
time periods,
yeah,
the 5,000 years they've shown in flashbacks, they were gorgeous. Like I loved
You
Babylon,
were.
I
the
was
ho-
about to
the
say
hang the Hanging
Babylon.
Gardens of Babylon. That was beautiful. All the blues, the rich blues and greens and golds. That was just amazing.
I mean, I loved how they tried to be as historically correct as they could with that time period because I've read up about that time period quite extensively and like I saw what their costumes and stuff were like back then. And with the way with every piece of history we saw, the way that they continued showing us what their clothes were like, what their lives were like,
Mm.
how they enjoyed their day-to-day experiences, what they went through. I loved how they tried to bring that much to reality as they could.
Yeah. And again, it was like pretty. The thing that makes it so much more enchanting is the fact that Chloe Zhao actually insisted on shooting on locations for quite a few of
Mhm.
those shots. Like
Yeah.
the like previous movies, we've seen CGI heavy backgrounds and stuff, but they actually went on location to shoot quite a lot of these scenes. So that makes it more realistic and more lovely to look at, basically.
That is true.
So we've talked about cinematography. I mean, there's not a lot to say given like it was just all gorgeous overall, right?
Yep.
The scenery in this movie was great. I want to talk about characters for a sec. Like before we get into the discussion of the different characters, I want to ask what is everybody's favorite Eternal?
I love Druid and I love
Huh?
Sprite. That is all
um,
I can say. I wish we had gotten Angelina as Cersei, but like that's a whole different conversation.
I'm bringing that up.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, my favorite characters were Tina. Angelina Jolie was
Mhm.
beautiful. She looked amazing in that silver gold outfit and the magical sort of, I guess, the weapons that she would conjure up. They were amazing. And then yes, I liked Droog. I owe him an apology because when I was watching the trailers, he struck me as the kind of
Yeah, I
team
remember.
member team member who would turn out to be the traitor who would betray the team. I don't know, he just had that kind of a look, but I owe him an apology. I'm sorry, Druid, that I doubted you.
I mean, he does have potential villain qualities, so
Yeah. Yeah, the mind control.
The entire duration of the movie, you do think that he is going to ultimately, spoiler, but side with Icarus at the end, right?
yeah,
So, because in the comics as well, the Eternals are very a divisive group, right? There's some Eternals who are bad and
yeah,
some Eternals that are good. Druig is a bad guy in the comics, just by the way,
yeah.
So
right?
I was
So
partially correct.
you were.
That's
That's
why
partially correct.
that's why he had such a villain tendencies in the movie. Like that's what everybody was going in the mindset with. It's gonna be
Yeah,
Druid.
and plot twist.
I think Druig is probably the best written character in this movie, in my opinion. I mean, he had solid arguments about everything. He had like he when he went against the Eternals and talked about how everything is wrong. I think he is the only one who made cohesive sense with his
Mhm.
arguments, right? And
Yeah.
I think he was on the right path. I mean, yes, he was written as a dick, but like that is just something that's unavoidable. When you're trying to defend a stance, you will come off that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? But my favorite character that wasn't Druid, because let's be honest, Druid is amazing. My favorite character, surprisingly, you'd think it'd be somebody like Icarus or Tina or Cersei. It
Makari?
was it was Fastos.
Ah,
Astros was
My
amazing.
God, his powers just made me like, oh my God, I love this. The way he
yeah.
just
He's
conjured things out of
the
nowhere.
the eternal version of Tony
I mean,
Stark.
I am so glad we got to see not only him as an Eternal, but we got to see a more humane side to him when he realized what his technology could do, especially when they
Exactly.
showed us
The Hiroshima.
nuclear
Hiroshima.
Hiroshima and stuff, and like we got to
Yeah.
see his humane side. That's when I fell in love with the character.
Yeah.
The character for me, like these two are my favorite characters in the entire movie because from every perspective. Like the costume designs are amazing. I love the purple. I love the black.
Mm.
I love their abilities, Fastos especially, because he uses them both defensively and offensively amazingly, right?
Yep.
Druig's ability is kind of one and done. Like, there's not a lot of range to it, but
Hmm.
his costume, his stance, and everything is all amazing.
His
And
snarkiness
the
is
character
on point.
development,
Yeah.
Yes.
they both have amazing character development.
Mm.
Um,
I
although,
have a point on this. We're going to come back to this.
sure,
Not yeah.
I know what point that is. So let me talk about something that Amar talked about because when we were on the car, since he couldn't be a part of this review, he said that he felt Cersei's character was a bit bland.
A
I
bit.
disagree. I disagree.
Yeah.
The reason I disagree is yes, her expressions were, she was expressionless for a lot of the movie. But when you
Mm.
think about it in this sense, Kay, she spent the entire movie getting bad news after bad news,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, tell me one moment in this entire movie, from the moment the first deviant appears, where she had a moment to breathe.
Not really.
Exactly. So that the entire
Yeah.
movie is just her in a state of shock.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
look, like before that, she has emotions. She's dating Black Knight, the guy who knows nothing, but apparently knows everything. So
But doesn't believe it.
exactly. So she's dating her, she's smiling, she's happy, she's has development, she's contemplating moving in with him.
She's
And
addicted to social media,
she's addicted to social
like
media.
all of us.
Exactly. All of this stuff that is good characterization for her. It makes sense for her character. And then the moment the first deviant, shock. Oh, Ajax chose me. Shock. Oh, the Ajax is dead.
Ajax
Shock.
dead.
Shock. Right. Oh, the
Yeah.
Eternals are supposed to destroy the Eternals' main purpose is to bring life to destroy the Earth. Shock. Like, tell me
They met
one
Thena,
moment.
she attacked them, shock.
Yeah. So tell me one moment where this poor girl had a moment to breathe. What we're reading
Um,
as bland acting is just her in shock the entire movie.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, for a character that was like built around Angelina Jolie,
Mm.
she played it pretty well, in my
Mm.
opinion. I mean, from
Yeah.
she is easy in one of my top favorite Eternals.
Mm. Mm.
I
Also,
feel
I think
yeah, go
she
on.
basically she was pretty much the catalyst for all the other Eternals like Ajak to start liking the humans as like something more than a mission.
Mm-hmm. Makes
Because
sense.
again, she also again along with Festus, she had a huge part in their development and their advancement. And then I would like to think that they all kept in touch somewhat over the centuries, and Ajak does refer to her that maybe she was right. There is something special about the humans.
That's true. That's true.
Mhm.
So
But
because Kanza brought
overall,
it up, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No, no, go
But
ahead.
overall, they gave us 10 new characters and kill off three of them. I needed more.
Well, they brought it down to a manageable number. I'm still not happy they killed Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was pretty amazing. It's
Yeah.
Gilgamesh, the
we
poor
all
Yes.
need the
man.
Gilgamesh apron.
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh. Yes.
We all need the Gilgamesh apron.
I'm gonna try to get like three, and if I cannot, I will paint them myself.
But because Kanza brought it up, the major thing that I had an issue with is although Gemma Chang and Angelina Jolie, brilliant actresses, both in their respective roles. My major gripe is when, the Ultimates comics came out, they made Nick Fury look more like Samuel L. Jackson on purpose.
Hmm.
And Samuel L.
Hmm.
Jackson said that he wanted to play Nick Fury in any future movie that would have Nick Fury in it. And that's how we have Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. However, when Cersei was drawn as a character for the first time ever, Angelina Jolie was the inspiration for Cersei, and they cast someone else as Cersei, and I will
Okay,
never
look,
live that down.
here's the
I
thing. They
mean,
have
I remember reading about this when the first
no,
characters
but
first came
but
out, and I was like, yes, Angelina Jolie. And then I was like, wait, this is not the right name next to it. What the hell is going on?
okay, but here's the thing. Angelina Jolie playing Cersei in the movie would be slightly awkward considering that we have Rob Stark and Jon Snow, and they're both in love with Cersei, not Lannister.
I
That would
mean,
be awkward.
not really. They didn't have to include the Ike. Sorry, I keep thinking of him as his comic book name, Ike Harris. Icarus didn't have to be in love with Cersei, right? I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, if your casting changes up a little bit, your entire
Hmm.
story can change because the casting was decided 3 years before the script was even finalized,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is that the story could have followed the more 2005 reboot story where Sprite was the villain
Hmm.
and all of that jazz. And Ajax wasn't even in it. It was just Makari, Athena, Cersei, Sprite.
Tina, drop the A.
Sorry, Tina, and who's left? Did I say Tina yet?
Uh,
It was
did you
like
say
five
what?
Sure.
people. It was five or six people. These were the only
Okay.
5 or 6 characters in the entire book, and it was centered around, the Mind Fury thing. Everybody had the
Hmm.
Mind Fury, and they had to get their entire memories erased, so they were living life as normal people. They didn't even know they had powers. And then
Yep.
slowly, because there was going to be an emergence from a different kind of emergence, there was a piece of a sentinel in the Earth's core that the two people were trying to revive the bad guys. And
Mhm.
as it was reviving itself, the Eternals were getting their memories back,
Mhm.
right? So I feel like that could have been the story that they go on. But heck, who am I to say that? I still enjoyed the movie a lot. I just didn't like the casting of Angelina Jolie as Tina. I just felt it should have been Cersei. That being said, we've talked about characters. We talked about that. Let's talk about overall feelings. Like, apart from everything else we've discussed, what else do you guys have to say?
I mean, I love the movie. It was just the fact that at first, because of the fact that we had so many characters that were involved in the movie, that it was hard to follow at first. Magar, as they started killing off people, it was easier to keep track of what was going on. And I loved how they, instead of making Sprite the villain, they ended up turning her into a human.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And how that was like her entire mindset in the process, that she wishes that she could grow up. She wishes for that human life that she couldn't have because she was just stuck as a child.
Is there any possibility of seeing Sprite in maybe a Young Avengers movie in the future.
It's 100%
Since
possible.
It's
The
definitely possible.
the reason they made
Mhm.
Sprite a human though was not any plot related reason though. It was more of a
Yeah,
technical
because the
reason.
actress is going to age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that,
Yeah.
Everybody
yeah,
else
the
is
Yeah.
in
actress
their
is
like
going to grow
30s
up.
and 40s. So even if
Yeah,
they age up 2 to 3 years over the before the sequel comes out, even 5 years, they're not going to look that different. Sprite, on
exactly.
the other hand, is going to look very
It's
different in
good.
5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Right?
could pull off the boyish look right now because of the short hair and that amazing
Oh
outfit.
no, no.
I don't
I
think
saw
it's gonna be hard to follow up 3-4 years from now when they make the second
I
one.
saw promotional pictures on Marvel's official Facebook page, and she has like slightly longer hair, like shoulder length, and she looks so very different from what she looks like in the movie. So
Yeah.
yeah, good call on going Pinocchio.
Yeah. So
And I don't know. I kind of liked Icarus's character, but the way they like got rid of him, like when he says "I'm sorry" to Cersei, and I'm sitting there with the mayor in the cinema, and I'm like, "Yeah, you piece of trash! Now go up and fly and burn into the sun." And then three seconds later, he does exactly that, and I'm screaming, "No! I was joking. What?"
I remember this. I was right
Like
there.
you're not
I like
supposed to
I had
actually listen to
yeah.
me.
Yeah, like I went to watch the movie alone and I'm just looking around like did anybody else see this? Did he really just fly into the sun?
I mean, his name is Icarus, and Sprite has already launched that story when in all those 5,000 years, the myth of Icarus.
I was hoping for it not to be true. I mean, I was hoping to see some sort of I'm not sure what I was hoping with Icarus. I mean, like I sort of had a feeling from the start that he was not gonna be as good as he looked, considering the fact
At
that he
least,
abandoned Cersei like right at the beginning of the movie.
yep.
So I'm not sure what we were hoping for.
I mean, I liked his
Mm.
character.
Yeah, I like the Sprite's myth of Icarus better than Shandar Dastan Icarus.
Okay, let's talk about Kumail. I loved him in
Oh,
Yeah.
this movie. Right?
Yes, he
same
was
here.
great. He was
Right?
adorable.
He was great. And
Mm.
I mean, I can't think of anybody. I mean, I love that he was there for both comedy reasons, and he actually
And
was he had pretty badass powers to use in this movie.
Yeah. I
yeah,
loved his powers and the way he blew off that deviant's head. I was just like,
yeah. And then
oh.
Karan, did you get that? And Karan with, I don't know, his fifth camera. Yes, I got it.
And I think he had the best, like, sure, Icarus flew off away, right? Like, oh, he attacked
Mm.
everybody and flew off away.
Hmm.
I liked Kingo's stance, right?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think Icarus is right, but I respect you all too much to fight you for my beliefs. Right?
Yeah.
He just walks away quietly. I love that. I mean, it's such a tiny scene, but the depth
Hmm.
that scene had in that character,
Hmm.
my God,
Hmm.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It really showed to what his beliefs as an eternal, as a character, and especially after learning that they are not, they after finding out they're not exactly what they thought they were.
Hmm.
Him still
It,
being
it
like that and him walking away without starting a fight, without that
it
anger.
it was a very mature basically response.
But and I loved
Like
how they involved a human in the entire thing. Like
yeah,
we got to see what humanity's point of view was during the entire process.
he was a bit biased, but yeah,
Let's be honest, the Eternals did have quite a moral conundrum, right? I mean,
yeah,
this isn't an easy decision
like
even for normal humans,
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah,
right? I mean, even
and
like let's say Tony Stark would have a hard time coming up with a solution here, right?
Poor
yeah.
Tony.
And before we move on to the next one, I'm just going to say this phrase. We're not going to discuss it, and we're going to move on to the next segment. And
You better not be saying
Oh
what
my
are you.
Sabeen-
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Sabeen
No.
already
I know
knows
what
this
you're
phrase
gonna
because
say.
Amar said it to her
Do
in the
not.
cinema. If
Do
Tony
not go
Stark
there.
if Tony Stark didn't do the snap, the Eternals movie would have never happened. Okay, moving on.
Hulk did the snap. Hulk did the snap. Hulk did the snap.
Okay, if Hulk never did the snap, then we never would have had the Eternals movie. Moving on.
No. No.
How can you say that and expect us to move on?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the mid and post credit scene real quick, and then we'll wrap up.
No. First, we're going to talk about where the hell were the Avengers when a giant little duckling is coming out of the earth. like an egg.
They were
I
about.
mean, honestly,
I'm
this
pretty sure
was
they were about
like,
to respond.
I'm pretty
No,
sure
they
this was like
weren't.
3 months after Endgame happened, and this all
Um,
happened within like 6-7 days. I'm pretty sure nobody
yeah,
had the time to react, and because
yeah,
everybody was in like
yeah. Yeah,
half the
basically
team was dead.
these 6 7 days, what I've read upon, the entire story of the present day turns, these 6 7 days of the emergence, they are overlapping with the ending of Spider-Man Far From Home and the opening of No Way Home. So
Yep.
I don't know, like Nick Fury said in Far From Home that Doctor Strange is unavailable and Thor is off world, but where are the others? Where is Wakanda? Wasn't Okoye measuring, like monitoring earthquakes under the ocean?
So, because a lot of stuff is happening at the same time in the new MCU, right? Because obviously they're 5 years ahead of us.
Yep.
At least at the time of this
20,
review, they're 2 years ahead of
2023.
us. They're 2 years ahead of us still. So a lot of things are going to be taking place in 2023 until they catch up, or maybe 2024.
Hmm.
This takes place in 2023. We've confirmed that from AJAC. And we've seen that a lot of the Avengers are going through a lot of crap from all the other shows, right? Like, God knows what Sam and Bucky are up to right now, right?
We know what Wanda was going
They're
through.
done.
We know
At
what
least,
Loki
yeah.
was up to.
No, Loki is out of time. He's in
Yeah.
a completely
right.
different thing.
Huh.
And I think Sam and Bucky are done, finished
And
building
I'm
the
pretty
boat.
sure like a part of it is going to be part of Wakanda's missing of the during this entire thing is going to be covered in the next movie that we're going to get of Black Panther as well, because this is like
Yeah.
Shuri probably
And
taking over, so
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that that's a whole different thing that's going to happen for us.
There's
Yeah.
more to this.
Wanda
as
would
well.
still be, I guess, Wanda, I don't know. She's due to show up in Multiverse of Madness, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because WandaVision happened around like 2 weeks after Endgame, the story. And this is like 3 months after.
There's also another argument, by the way. There's another question that needs to be
Yeah.
asked. No, not so much who needs to be asked, but it's more like, again, with Loki being out of time, the question then arises: was this the event? Was the Eternals where the Earth didn't blow up? Did that cause the rift in time? Because we still don't know what exactly the event was that caused all those rifts in time in the end of Loki.
Yeah.
Right. So still left to be decided.
But there's the thing, like, are the Celestials, again, the ending of Loki, it created a multiverse, multiple universes.
Yep.
So are the Celestials of just this universe, or are they in every universe, or what?
They're in every universe.
They're in every universe for sure. I mean, if they are being born through the center of the earth, like if they are
They're
present in the core, then
omnipresent.
they must be. Yeah.
So it's just one Celestial who's present in all the universes simultaneously.
Yep.
Kind of like the Watcher, probably present everywhere.
So it's mostly like, was the death of Tiamat the Celestial the reason that all of a sudden, all the things broke up? Something for our viewers to think about. This we'll discuss in our group chat, because this review is getting a little too long. Let's just talk a little bit about the post and the mid and post credit scene, and we'll wrap up. One word: Star Fox. Yes.
Oh my god! Finally, I was so excited about Star Fox. I mean, Pep's CGI was terrible, but Star Fox and him, especially being played by Harry Styles, I mean, the world. I mean,
one of those One Direction kids.
Exactly. I mean, like, Star Fox, the world's biggest ladies' man, being played by Harry Styles. I feel like it fitted him perfectly, and him just announcing he's Thanos' brother.
There's two things that are beautiful about this casting and everything. Right? First of all, we found out Harry Styles was cast in the MCU like a month before the movie dropped, and we never found out what he was cast for.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think I did see an article that he's been cast as Star Fox.
No, I remember when the news dropped. I don't remember, but maybe there was one. Who knows? Who knows for sure, right? We can Google it after that.
Yeah.
The point being that the reason I brought this up is because I have to apologize to Sabeen, because she was sitting right next to me when I screamed, "Oh my God, it's Star Fox!"
It's fine. It's fine.
I can only imagine your ears, Sabeen.
She was sitting like
I
right
had to
here.
move a little away. I had to move a little away. Like, okay, there goes my right ear. I had to
Like,
move
I
away
mean,
a
I'm
bit.
just glad I was alone in my room because the way I screamed at seeing her, I was like, oh, shit, it's Star Fox. And I was just like, and then I just like melted into my seat because I had nobody to react with.
No,
I'm
no.
so sorry, but like seeing him on screen was amazing.
Omer already screamed when, like, the moment he showed up, and then when finally, when Pip the troll, he announces that this is Thanos's brother,
Yeah.
and then the rest of us screamed, and then Omer was obviously screaming just as loud. But yeah, there were screams.
there
That is
were
what I will
screams
say.
and there were stares from people in the cinema. We're not sorry. And lastly, let's talk about
No, yeah,
that post-credit
yes,
scene. My God, the blade.
Marisha
Like
Ali. Yeah,
finally,
we're getting to it.
Yes, we keep talking about we screamed that it was Stephen Strange when actually it was
Yeah,
Blade, right? So that's on us.
yeah.
We are not
Yeah.
worthy of the MCU.
No, it did sound like
I
Stephen Strange.
agree.
Okay,
It did sound
it
like
was a deep voice, and it was just one line, and we were pretty high strung up about Star Fox a few minutes ago, and yeah, but my brother, he correctly identified because he'd already been spoiled that it was Blade.
okay. So the
He's like,
fun fact,
no.
one other fun fact about this movie is that the spoiler I got about this movie wasn't even in the movie.
What
what
was
was
it?
it?
You never
My,
told us.
yeah, so I never told you guys. So what happened was that
Mm,
somebody shared screenshots of the movie, and the screenshots were that Cersei died,
okay.
right?
Oh.
And Icarus was holding Cersei in his arms. There was actual photos of this, and the caption was
Deleted
what
scenes.
the caption of the post was, "Okay, why
Mm.
can't Marvel keep any of their characters alive?"
The comments still
I,
stand, just by the way. The
Right?
comments still
they
Like,
stand.
killed. They killed three of them. They killed three of
I
them.
mean, yes, but
And
like,
Tony Stark multiple times.
I mean, sure, but like Cersei, I was looking at Cersei and I'm like, damn, this is spoiled, and I can't tell anybody about it because the movie still hadn't come out for 3 weeks. This was like some camp print or something somebody watched and posted screenshots of, right? So I
Yeah.
was just like, the movie is spoiled for me. But then she never died.
Were you
I remember
actually
you
waiting for
bringing
her
up
to
the
die?
spoiler.
Yeah, I
You
was like,
probably
okay,
were.
I was like, okay, right now, somehow like Icarus is just gonna shoot a laser or something. Something's gonna hit her, like,
Sprite
and
stabs her.
Sprite stabs her. Like Eric, when Sprite stabbed her, I'm like, okay, that's it. That's how she dies. The entire time I was sitting
No,
there, I'm like, yeah, this is how
no,
she
no,
dies.
no. Nope.
This is
Sprite stabbed her. Sprite stabbed her, and she still had enough energy, enough blood, and enough adrenaline to still keep running towards that volcano that no one helped her run towards. Like, that could
they
have
all
taken
just stood and
hours.
watched.
Yeah, that could have taken her hours to run all the way there.
Yep. Okay, so this review is getting a little long, so let's wrap up with final thoughts and scores, starting with Sabeen.
Um, okay, I loved it. Okay, but I just have the issue about what are they gonna do with that giant half a face and half a hand poking out of the Indian Ocean? How are they gonna deal with that?
You know how Easter
Which
Island
is
came about, right?
This is the MCU's new Easter Island. There you go.
oh my, it's marble now, and yeah, I can see an overabundance of sculptures all the way come. Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to what happens when Arisham is done judging the memories of King
Yep.
Festus and Cersei, and the other three who are now with the universe's most well-known ladies' man. I wonder why only Makari and Tina were able to sense him coming.
That's a good
I wonder
question.
why.
Oh, that makes perfect sense now. Okay.
Yeah, because. But yeah, final score, I would give it an 8.5. It was an enjoyable movie.
Right.
Yeah, please, people, do not listen to critics. Watch the movies yourself and make your own opinions. That is all I will
Yeah.
say.
We are not going to discuss the controversial stuff in this movie, obviously, because that's
Obviously.
Right? We're not going to say anything about it because we want you people to watch it and form your own judgments. Obviously, the critics are slightly biased when it comes to the controversial things in this movie, especially the social justice
Definitely.
discussions and all that stuff.
Mm.
And Kanza, your final thoughts and score.
I mean, I love the movie. I'm really looking forward to what they do with the Blade character in the coming movie. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I'm looking forward to seeing how
Black Knight.
Sprite plays in
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Sprite ends up doing after becoming human. I'm hoping to
Yeah.
see her in Young Avengers. There's like a lot that is still
Yeah.
unanswered because of this movie, and I'm looking for seeing Star Fox on screen even more. But overall, I would give this movie probably an 8, considering the fact that I've read the books.
Mhm.
So for me, yes, enjoyable movie, great cast, great superheroes. Love the like everybody knows I'm a big fan of team superhero movies and TV shows and comics, right? So Young Justice, Avengers, and now Eternals. I love anything with a team in it. So I love the team dynamics in this movie. I loved a lot of stuff in this movie. Um, the dialogue in some places was a bit off for me.
Hmm.
I love Druig's stance on a lot of things. I love the visuals, but I just cannot give it more than an 8, honestly, because I've read the original books as well. And it's just that my entire time I was sitting through the movie, I'm like, they've changed so much, they've changed so much. So that's the only reason I'm giving it an 8, which brings our average score to, let's say, we can round it up to 8.5. It's like 8.1. Let's say 8. Total score would be
Hmm.
8 out of 10. Right. So with that being said, thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our discussion and the review of the movie. Be sure to sit tight because Shang-Chi is coming out next week and some of us will be covering that too.
Yes.
Until next time, see y'all later.
Bye.